This is David Kurtz, TPM Media. We're here at Netroots Nation in Austin with Alaska Senate candidate Mark Begich. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And you're running against Ted Stevens, who's one of TPM's favorite rogue Republicans.
I hear you right about him.
Just a little bit. Obviously, he's enmeshed in a huge public corruption scandal. His house has been raided by the FBI.
Right.
How much of an issue is that a focus for of your campaign?
I think that just kind of is an underlying issue that people are aware of, but really what's happening in Alaska and the politics of Alaska has shifted dramatically. When I won my mayor's race in 2003, that city had been a red city for almost 15 years, and it's 43% of the state's population, so it had a huge influence on the politics of Alaska. But what's happened is it has changed, and people are staying there longer, living there, retiring. The dynamics are different, and Ted is just basically out of touch with what's going on in Alaska politics today. And this underlying corruption issues, or the cloud that's around him, just kind of covers all of them, kind of follows him all the time. But the real issue is he's just not very in touch with what's going on in Alaska today and what Alaskans are thinking about for the next 20 and 30 years.
The corruption investigation has already brought down several state legislators. Ted's son, Ben, is clearly a target of the investigation, too. His office was raided. Former state Senate president there, correct? So how much of that are you guys talking about on a daily basis, or are you just letting that sort of be the background noise and leave that alone?
Yeah, we actually rarely talk about it because it seems like everyone else talks about it. And so we focus on what Alaskans are interested in. We talk about the energy crisis that's not only around the country, but obviously in Alaska. We talk about health care, veterans care, education. We talk about the future. And I love talking about that because that's what Alaskans really want to hear. All the rest of the noise around Ben Stevens and his dad and all these other Republicans who have been taken down by the corruption trials are kind of a background. I mean, you hear it every few days. It seems like there's something more unfolding. So we rarely talk about it because the public already knows a lot about it in Alaska. It's common news story, you might say. And then we get to talk about the future of the state. And that is actually a great position to be in. But at the end of the day, it clearly is below the surface. And depending on the day and the news coverage, it could be on the surface.
So what's the latest? What's the scuttlebutt on what's going to happen next?
Well, the latest was another sitting state senator, John Cowdery, got indicted. And within that indictment, you'll see Ben Stevens, the senator's son, listed all the way through it as one of the culprits, one of the people who helped put the deal together, you might say. So I think they're just kind of building the box around Ben Stevens. It's hard to say what they'll do, but it's clear now, a couple indictments, that the senator's son is clearly implicated in some sort of bribery scam or some sort of conspiracy. So when and if that comes out is hard to say, but I think people are expecting it. And with the senator, it's hard to say, but anytime a U.S. senator's home is raided, which is very rare, I think only once that I know of, that really creates a lot of question around. And people are asking. One of the big questions, for example, when Senator Stevens put out his disclosure statement, he put on there he owes $50,000 for legal bills. The obvious question is, well, what has he paid already, and what has he paid that for? And
the $50,000 was just for debt.
For debt.
That was owed. It wasn't how much he paid already, but which still hadn't been paid yet. Right?
Exactly. So my guess is there's a lot of money he's already paid, but only one person can answer that question. That's Senator Stevens, and he's refused to answer the question. Which I think Alaskans are getting very frustrated. And it doesn't matter if it's on this issue or any other issue. They want their politician to lay it on the line. Even when they disagree with you, they want to know and be transparent about it, and he's been unable to do that.
Do you expect indictments of Ben or Ted before the election?
I expect that Ben might be the first target. Hard to say with Senator Stevens because I think they have multiple activities around him. They're building cases or at least investigating. So it's hard to say what will happen with him, but clearly I think in Ben's case, that it just seems like everyone's talking about it, that will be the next step.